Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kernel of Wisdom. I'm Joelle, and I'm here with John from the Dutch Smiling Yogi channel. We have developed a yoga plus meditation, mind, body, spirit, self-love series. And we're starting with the body. So today's yoga and meditation is all about loving and accepting our bodies.
When you do the yoga poses, the asanas, often you're in a class and the people around you are maybe way more flexible than you are. So we start to judge ourselves. What we want to do in yoga is to let go of that judgment. And we can do that by understanding why the person next to us is more flexible or actually looks more flexible than we are. You actually can't compare yourself when you're on your yoga mat with the person next to you, because we're all built differently. Our skeleton system is for every person different. Normally when you have to identify yourself, you have to give you a fingerprint. You could actually make a print of your skeleton as well, because there's no skeleton in the world that's the same to another skeleton. I'll explain you why. To be able to go into lotus, our leg has to come up and has to rotate outwards. But depending on the shape of the ball here and the acetabulum there, you can have more opening or less opening. So not everybody can do lotus. For your back bends, a lat upward bow, your arm has to come up and go all the way back. Depending on how the spine of your shoulder blade is designed, you will hit bone-on-bone compression sooner or later. So if it's more forward, you have bone-on-bone compression sooner. If it's more backward, you have bone-on-bone compression later. This has nothing to do with flexibility. This simply has to do with how your skeletal is designed. So let's see how this translates into your yoga. We're going to do a little sequence when we're going to look at some limitations you might have due to your skeletal system, where you just have bone-on-bone compression. We'll start on all fours in a cat-cow. And we just inhale, looking up. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, looking up. And exhale, rounding. We just want to bring some movement in the pelvis, slowly warming up. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, rounding. Then we inhale in a neutral back. We're going to place our toes on the floor on an exhalation, and we inhale, we lift up in our downward facing dog, making a little movement, one heel at a time towards the floor. Now when you're in your downward dog, maybe you have your heels on the floor, maybe your heels are very, very far away from the floor. So we'll find stillness. And if your heels are very far away on the floor, it could actually be the bone of your tibia, the bones in your ankle hitting compression. So maybe you can make it when you press really one heel down, then you have the flexibility. If you stay very far off, it could be compression in there. We're going to take 3 more breaths here, and when we do it, we're actually looking at our arms. And our arms might be straight, our arms might be bent. It could be that your biceps are short, but it could also be the bone of your upper arm hitting the bone on your lower arm. So you could have bone-on-bone compression there. Maybe you're hyperflexible and your arms are actually past 180 degrees. Taking 1 breath cycle here before we move on. Then we look to the front of our mat, stepping our right foot forward, left foot forward, upper body parallel. Exhale, we fall down. Taking a full breath cycle here. On an inhalation, we come up, arms go to the side, we lengthen. Exhale, hands come in front of us. Inhale, we lengthen again, arms come up. Exhale, we fall down from the waist. Inhale, upper body parallel. Exhale, placing our hands on the floor. Stepping back, plank posture. Knees to the floor, upper body to the floor. Untuck your toes. Inhale, lift up your upper body. Exhale, curl your toes under. Lift up your pelvis. We're going to place our left foot 45-degree angle. Right foot comes in between our hands. We're going to come up on an inhalation. Knees above the ankle. And in this pose, you actually want to turn your pelvis forward. But again, it has to do with the rotation you have in your hip. But in this case, it also has to do with your ligaments in your ankle, your ligaments in your right knee. So some people have more elastic ligaments, other people have more tight ligaments, depending on what kind of fibers there are more in there, elastogen or collagen. So from our warrior 1, we're opening up. Warrior 2, back foot comes 90 degree. In this one, you want to have your pelvis open, but again, it has to do with how far can you rotate your bones of your thighs outwards. We're looking over our right hand. Taking one breath cycle here. Then we're straightening the right leg. Turning the right leg all the way in. Left leg all the way out. Bending the left knee. Trying to bring that pelvis forward again. But you will feel it in your right leg, depending on the flexibility of the ligaments. From here, opening up, warrior 2. It's a hip opener. We want to open up as much as we can. Again, how far can your thigh bone be rotated outwards? Looking over your front hand, rolling your shoulder blades on your back. We inhale, straighten our legs. Exhale, left foot goes in, right foot goes down. Bending the right knee, hands go to the floor. Gonna step back, plank posture, knees to the floor, upper body to the floor. Untucking the toes. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, curling the toes under. Back, downward facing dog. We're gonna stay small. And in this small pose, we walk forward. We come to seating and we bring our legs forward. Straightening our spine. We take one inhalation, one exhalation here. From here, we're going to place our right foot on the inside of our left thigh. Means we have a little bit of a hip opener again. Placing our hands on the floor, we're lengthening up and then we come forward. And here it has to do with like how high is your pelvis. Men have like a higher pelvis, makes it harder to tilt forward. Women have a lower pelvis, makes it easier to tilt forward. So the structure depends how easy the forward tilt is. The other thing are your hamstrings muscles preventing you going forward or not. For some people, they might actually have a bone-on-bone compression in the hip in this posture. We inhale, we come up, exhale, and then we're going to pick up our right foot and we're going to see if we can actually place our right foot on top of our left thigh. Again, this is a big opening in the hip. You want to keep the ankle engaged. If you relax the ankle, it's going to be too much strain on your ligament. The other thing we're working with is how long are our limbs. So in this pose, you want to have your arm around the back and you want to grab hold of your big toe. If you have long arms, I have pretty long monkey arms, it actually becomes an easy pose. If your limbs are shorter, only till there, the pose is harder. Maybe you're way more flexible than I am, but your arms are just shorter, which makes the pose harder. So again, how are you built? Depends if the pose becomes easy or the pose becomes hard. From here, we come forward, trying to hold on to that toe. And we lean forward over the left leg. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, releasing the right. Left one comes inside of the right thigh. Using our hands to push up, so we're straightening our spine. And then we come forward over the right leg. It's normal that one side goes easier than the other side. Maybe one leg has to do more work. I have a background in playing football. Always use the right leg, so the muscles are more tight. It's harder to stretch them. Inhale, we come up. We're going to place left foot on top of the right thigh. Again, this is an outward rotation of the hip bone. Left arm comes around and now we use our left fingers to hold on to the big toe. Because no skeleton system is symmetric, maybe you have compression bone on one side, maybe not on the other side. We come forward over our right leg. From here, we inhale, we come up. We're going to keep that left leg in lotus. And maybe you make it to have the right leg in lotus as well. Arms are next to your side. You want to lift up the knees, press in the hands, and lifting up in Tolasana. Again, this all has to do with the length of your limbs. For me, it's easy. Long arms, it's easy to press up. If your arms are shorter, maybe it's hard to get your butt off the floor. It means you would have to work more for your core, really curling up and be there. So depending on how your skeleton is built, you can do this pose or you can't do this pose. We slowly lower down, untuck our legs, place them for us, hands are behind, and we're going to press up into a squatting position. Now in squat again, maybe you have compression between the bone of your lower leg, your tibia and your ankle. If you have a lot of compression there, maybe this is your squat, your heels are off the floor. If you have the flexibility, your heels can go to the floor. Bones depend what's possible, what's not possible. From here, butt goes to the floor and we come back into an easy cross. So a lot of people you see who have a perfect practice, a beautiful practice, they actually have a skeleton system and muscles that allow them to have that practice. In yoga, there's no picture perfect. The perfect pose for you is doing the pose to the maximum of your abilities. That's it. You can't compare yourself to somebody else. So I hope this gives you a little bit more insight in your yoga. We have to work with what we got. If the divine wanted me to be a big black woman who could sing the blues, he would have made Aretha Franklin out of me. but he made me a skinny, long guy with very, very long limbs. This is what I have. This body is perfect for me. There should be a reason behind it. Haven't discovered it yet, but there should be a reason behind it. So we work with this body. And to accept our body more, we're gonna go over to Joelle, who has like a beautiful meditation. And I'll see you for the second part. Namaste.
Settle into your meditation posture and start to reconnect with your breath. Focus on the breath wherever you notice it most. At your nostrils, in your throat, or in your body. You might notice the coolness of the air when you inhale, the warmth of the air when you exhale. Or perhaps you notice the rise and fall of your chest or belly as you breathe. Take a few moments to take hold of the breath and try to move it as deep into your belly as you can. Inhaling as fully as possible and letting go of every drop of air that you can when you exhale. Take a few big, deep belly breaths this way. Then allow your attention to fall away from your breath and turn toward the body, starting by holding a general awareness of your body and mind at first. How does the body feel? Do you notice any overall sensation in the body? And if so, label it. Now we are going to spend some time with our bodies in a way that may feel uncomfortable, at least at first, in a way that we don't often like to admit to. Start by shifting your attention to an area of your body that you tend to struggle with, an area that you've been less than loving toward. Notice any thoughts or mental images that arise as you turn your attention to this area of the body. Also notice any feelings or sensations in the body that arise in response to focusing on this area. Without trying to change them or push them away, see if you can just sit with them. If you find it difficult to hold your attention on this area of the body, noticing an urge to turn away from it, to avoid it, to avoid the struggle you may feel around it, I'll invite you to place a hand over this area of your body in order to stay with it. Consider for a moment that your body only ever tries to do what is best for you. It tries to protect you, to keep you safe and healthy. It tries to comfort you. And it tries to make sure you are prepared for whatever struggles may come your way. It is simply trying to be there for you and your needs. It isn't trying to resist you or your wants. Your body loves you. Your body wants to be there for you. So breathe into this difficult space in your body as you allow these thoughts to sit with you. And then I invite you to have a silent, honest conversation with this area of your body. Start by asking it, what are you trying to do for me? Trust whatever response arises. Then ask it, how have I treated you? What messages have I sent your way? And notice whatever response arises. Finally, ask it, what can I do to treat you better? To love you and love myself more. Notice and trust whatever response arises. If it's not already there, place a hand over this difficult area of your body and silently say to it, I love you. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. I love you, and I'm sorry. Take a moment to check in and notice how you feel now. Any sensation or emotion that has arisen in the body. If there's anything lingering that you'd like to say to this area of the body, do so now. If needed, you can pause this recording and go through the same process on another area of the body. Or leave it for another day. Once complete, silently repeat the following toward yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy and safe. May I love and accept myself just the way I am. May I find freedom from suffering. May I be an example of peace. May I be happy. May I be healthy and safe. May I love and accept myself just the way I am. May I find freedom from suffering. May I be an example of peace. Returning to the breath, take one more chance to feel the body as it is right now and send it some love, kindness, and gratitude for all it does to try and support you the best it knows how. Then simply finish by asking yourself the question, what do I now know? What did I learn from this experience?